Bust it.
Hello and welcome to Political Platform. My name is Amechi, and with the fight, the conflict, this disagreement between the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and the acting chairman of the EFCC has again come to the fore with a query issued to the acting EFCC chairman Ibrahim Magu by Malami, and also a private legal practitioner Festus Keyam over the U-turn the EFCC did in the prosecution of the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, that's Danladi Umar. It again brings to the fore the many disagreements between these two gentlemen. They disagreed on the evasion of judges' residence by the DSS, and they have also disagreed publicly and openly over the EFCC prosecution of Mohamed Adoke, the Alison Madeke, over the Malabu oil scam. Of course, it is one thing that should continue to cause a lot of concern. So many disagreements within the kitchen cabinet of the president, those that are supposed to work harmoniously in cooperation, supporting each other in the anti-corruption campaign, appear to be doing it differently, going each other's way in the course of their duty. And former President Olusegun Obasanjo should be in jail, if not that the anti-corruption campaign of the president is selective. So says Abdullahi Adamu, former governor of Nasarawa State and current senator. In recent times, Abdullahi Adamu has come out in defense of the president. He says the president is one man who should be given another opportunity to return in 2019 presidential election, and that some actions of his fellow senators, such as the bill to amend the Electoral Act, is targeted at the president. So many people believe that Abdullahi Adamu has suddenly become the presidential spokesperson. As critics say, it is tied to the fact that his son is currently being undergoing trial by the EFCC for corruption charges, and his recent outburst in support of the president may actually be a way of warming up to the powers that be. They also point at Oju Zokalu, former governor of Abia State, who is also undergoing trial, who has recently been defending the president. And miracle in JAMB, Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, a new registrar who has been in office for close to 2 years now, Professor Ishaku Loyode, is one man who in just 1 year remitted 7.8 billion naira to the Federation account. Now consider what happened in the last 7 years. JAMB remitted about 50 million in 7 years, but under his first year, Ishaku Loyode was able to remit 7.8 billion naira to the Federation account. And recently, news of a snake swallowing 38 million, or is it 34 million in Macaulay office, 36 million in the office of JAMB. So many stories coming up, and we'll be having the JAMB registrar here with us live in the studio to take us through all these happenings. My colleagues are here. Uju Eje is with us in the studio.
Amechi, no doubt a lot is happening, particularly on the political terrain. And you summed it up, Senator Adamu Abdullahi, former governor of Nasarawa State, tried suddenly becoming the spokesperson in the Senate. In fact, he was the one who led the senators who were against even, a bill, a motion that had already been passed, harmonized, and adopted again by the whole house, and people have been wondering. But of course, it's understandable if a man wants to fight for his son. I don't see anything wrong in that, but it would be better.
That is what some critics are saying.
Yes, but it would be better if he's doing it based on principles, and I would like to believe that maybe he is doing it based on principles.
What
he really needs to convince people more so that something is adopted by the whole house and you're still kicking against it. You know that minority will have their say, majority would always have their way.
Well, the senators alleged that President Obasanjo pursued third term and shared money to senators. He named 50 million and said if the incumbent president, Muhammad Buhari, should take action on that, it is enough to send Obasanjo to jail. But one prominent journalist yesterday on his Facebook account posted an interview he had with Senator Abdullahi Adamu in 2010. And Adamu, according to what we gathered, played a prominent role in that third-term saga. And that journalist quoted Adamu as saying that he had no regrets over the role he played in the third-term saga. So how can he now come out to begin to advocate for the investigation and possible prison sentence for the former president? My other colleague, Ijeoma Samuel, is also in the house with us.
Yes, Amechi, I was at the press conference yesterday when Senator Abdullahi Adamu was talking, and I asked him a question. I asked if he was reacting to the fact that former President Olusegun Obasanjo went to visit former President Goodluck Jonathan in Otwike. Because from why he was talking yesterday, I could see tantrum, anger in him, and he kept mentioning it. He said Obasanjo was in Bayelsa on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and look at the papers this morning, they are scattered with information. Obasanjo, Jonathan preach peace. So I was wondering why he shouldn't applaud such action if former presidents are coming together to preach peace. And like he said the meeting between Obasanjo, Jonathan, and the former military president Ibrahim Babangida, as well as the former military president, what's his name? Head of State, Abdul Salami. He asked questions. He said if you look at their statements, you will know that there's an intention to pull Buhari out of the way. But on the other hand, I think Senator Abdullahi Adamu should consider helping to build the image of the president if actually he wants to work for the president. And people are already saying he's trying to gain attention. He's trying to look for the president's eyes, to look towards his position. This is not the way you go about it. There's also a statement I also frowned at that I support, I beg your pardon. He made a statement that if you insult a sitting president, you are degrading the nation. But these are all presidents and they are all generals.
To that we agree with him. You are free to criticize the president, but do it constructively. We must continue to uphold the tenets of the office and the respect and reverence that should go to the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
But Amechi, if I may quickly add, you know that the way things were going before now, it was like, Nigeria was really almost at the precipice. And if there were people who could speak out at such a time, these are the people who should. And they did that. And you could see that the tension ebbed a bit. And it matters that they spoke out when they should.
Some others have also said these are people that have the eyes and ears of the president and have access to the Asoro Presidential Villa Abuja. That these are issues they can just simply raise with the president. As some of their the choice of their words appear unpresidential. That in some other climes you don't see former presidents coming out openly to use such language on an incumbent president. Adeboye Aboduri is also with us in the studio.
Amishi, I think there is the need for the president to call his men to order. A situation where there is open fight among his members of his kitchen cabinet, I think it's not a good thing. It's not a good. It doesn't portray the government in a good image. Too many fights openly, particularly between the AGF, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the chairman and the acting chairman of the FCC. It's becoming too many, and so many of them, they have quarreled over so many things openly. I think they should find a way of settling some of these issues. As regards the comment of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, well, that is politics. When President Obasanjo was in office, if you talk of one governor that was very, very close to Obasanjo, it was Senator Adamu, and he did not hide it. He praised him to high heavens. Now things have changed. We have a new president, so you see politics at play.
Definitely.
But Amechi, I still think the president should have called a Council of State meeting. Most of these former presidents, they are looking for an avenue to talk, and they are not getting it. And if a Council of State meeting is not being called, they are reacting in their own way.
Well, we'll look at the nature of meetings of the National Council of State to see how many times they should meet in a year and whether we have adhered to that timetable. But I want to remind you that Professor Ishaq Oloye, the registrar of JAMB, former Vice Chancellor University of Ilorin, is with us. The man that cost 7.8 billion naira to be remitted to the Federation account from JAB in just 1 year. Consider this other side. In about 7 years, about 50 million was remitted between that period. So a lot of questions to be asked, and we will be posing that questions to you. I want to invite you now to come into the program by your mails. We have selected some mails. The ones we have sent to our email platform, politicalplatform@yahoo.com. Just to remind you, the promise we gave you yesterday after we had Senator Kabiru Marafa on the program. He raised a lot of allegations against the Zamfara State government. We promised to reach out to Zamfara State government for their own side of the story. We reached out to several senior government functionaries, but they declined to join issues with the senator, saying they would rather not want to go into a fight in the media with him. They would prefer him to come back to Zamfara State and do the politics. They alleged he's using the media to indeed achieve his intention of becoming the governor of Zamfara State in 2019. But let's share your mails.
Thanks, Amechi. Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Amaka Okoro.
I'm Usaitin Yari. Welcome.
We'll begin with a reaction on comments by Senator Kabiru Marafa yesterday on the platform, and it's coming from Benga in Lagos State. The mail reads, "It was very unfortunate that, rather than Senator Kabiru Marafa face the issue of the incessant and senseless killings in Zamfara State, he focused mainly on attacking the governor of the state. I think we should stop this culture of politicizing killings in this country. The senator and his governor should choose another issue to play their politics with, and not with the death of innocent citizens. The list of fighting and the incessant power tussle between a senator and his governor in Nigeria is endless, from Shehu Sani and Nasiru El-Rufai in Kaduna State to Dino Melaye and Yahaya Bello in Kogi State, and not forgetting Kwakonsa and Ganduje in Kano State. Unfortunately, this power struggle and tussle has nothing to do with the well-being and interest of the common masses. It is all about their selfish political gains. May this country succeed."
More reactions. Kingsley in Rivers State says, "Dear platform crew, the revelation by Senator Marafa on your program yesterday that the governor of Zamfara State got the hint about the attack in his state 24 hours ahead but failed to act accordingly leaves much to be desired. I want to call on all northern leaders to take a cue from the south and give assistance to security agencies in their region for the benefit of their people. Our security agencies have succeeded more in hunting down criminals in the south than in the north. This is simply because community leaders, political leaders, and religious leaders in the community assist the security agencies with useful information on how to track these criminals. For the northern leaders, the case is different. Getting a large chunk of the national resources seems to be more important to the leaders than and so they are using insecurity to achieve their aim. Let me remind them that the more they keep quiet about security challenges in the north, the more their people will continue to lose their lives to the hands of criminals. God bless Nigerians."
And this is how far we can go on today's mail segment. Keep sending your contributions to us. Send them through to us to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Thank you so much. Before we come to Professor Loyode, let's get the views of a legal practitioner, Godwin Ogboji, on the seeming conflict between the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, and the EFCC. Thank you so much, Godwin Ogboji, for joining us. Thank you so much. What's your take on this query issued by the AGF to the acting chairman of EFCC and the private legal practitioner, Festus Keyamo?
Ordinarily, from the face value, it is an appropriate action to take because the AGF is the chief law officer of the Federation, and under the EFCC and the EFCC are ordinarily supposed to report to the AGF for whatever they want to do. Not that they are not independent, but to give him a report of their activities. Now, but if you look at the antecedents of the AGF or the Federation, particularly when you call to mind the issue of Mena, you have reservations about the way and manner he performs the official duties assigned to him by the Constitution and by the law. But be that as it may, the query is appropriate. Why am I saying it's appropriate? It's on two premises. Before now, when the Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau was trying Bukola Saraki, the Senate President of the Federation, allegation of this nature were raised that he has an issue before the EFCC. And the EFCC were quick to come to town to say that the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau has investigated the allegation. It was a mere accusation and allegation. And it cannot stand the scrutiny of law court. And that letter was written to the Secretary of Federal Government of the Federation and to the AG, which also collaborated day later of the EFCC to it that this cannot be sustained in court. And now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there are no new evidence. The charges, if you read the charge, there are 2 charges prepared against him for collecting money and for collecting money through his aid, 1.8 million through his aid. Until now, these were the same allegations that were peddled in the air before now that the EFCC exonerated him. So where the new evidence with which the EFCC need to prosecute the man. So we take into cognizance the function of the AGF of the Federation to also supervise EFCC. The query is appropriate. Let's note, query is not about indictment. It's not about wrongdoing. Query is about clarification. Let us hear your view on why you took these steps, whether they are appropriate or otherwise. So for me, I think it's appropriate. But as I said before now, taking into cognizance the role the AGF have played in the issue of Mina, which was repugnant and not decent at all, and other issues where the allegations of him not appropriately advising the government on the issue of corruption and legality of a lot of things, particularly the issue of continuous detention of Dasuki without for not obeying the court order, then you now look at it. That is why at any point in time, public officers should live above, just like above the board.
Okay.
If the AGF have not had issue of perception of not standing with corruption, this issue will have come up at this point in time for you to answer this question.
Thank you so much, Godwin Oboji, for your intervention. We do appreciate. Okay, let's welcome Professor Ishaq Oloye, the Registrar of JAMB. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
How has it been during your stay in JAMB as Registrar?
It has been so far so good. It has been, you might say it's challenging, but every man or woman who is given a responsibility has to do it as much as he is capable.
And just after 1 year, you were able to pay in a huge sum of money into the Federation account when you consider what JAMB has been remitting the previous years. How did you achieve this?
I wouldn't say how that I achieved that. I believe it was those who established JAMB who created a means of getting such an amount for the government. I just came in just over a year ago, and of course the law says whatever was generated should be returned to the government. I've seen people blame us for returning money, that why should you return money? I don't know what they want me to do with government money. The law says I should return whatever is in excess. I didn't increase any of the charges. I met it so, and my duty is to return. As to what happened before me, I'm not an auditor. Wasn't appointed an auditor or an investigator. The mandate given to me by President Buhari is go there, do an honest work, and that's what I'm doing. And if he feels that I'm not doing so, he can gauge me and then take appropriate decision. But those who are commenting, they didn't give me the job, they didn't know the mandate, so they couldn't assess me and say, why should you return the money to the government? I don't know what they would have preferred. Some even talk about obsession for returning money. All those terminologies, I believe that is because they do not, everybody has the right to talk, including the people who are not sane. They also have the right to make their comments, and we are in a free society.
But did you discover any form of leakages when you took over, and what are these leakages?
I do not think, I cannot say I discovered leakage. I was given an assignment. I got to the place where I wanted to do the work. The first thing is to take over, assess what was there, and whatever is not being properly done according to my own lenses should be corrected, and whatever, and I couldn't have come there and I would say, okay, I'm starting my work. Anybody who had government money in his pocket should go, because at that point I was in charge. All I said was, anybody who is entrusted with money, kindly hand over, because we want to stop this sale of cash card. It was my unfortunate responsibility to ask that question. And so somebody has stolen money in 2014, in 2013, in 2015, and I got there and I said, okay, account for your money between 2013 and 2015. And somebody is now saying that, oh, there's a government of Buhari that they are fighting corruption and they are doing this. Did it happen during Buhari regime? The answer is no. So, but we are in a situation where many people, including journalists, they appear at times not to want to go to a place at all cost, irrespective of the facts to the contrary. So my view is that we should, the problem is not about snake. The problem is not about all those things you are talking about. The problem is about our lack of respect for truth. You see, truth may not favor you today, but definitely it will favor you tomorrow. But slanting everything to achieve a predetermined position is not helpful. And that is one of the things that is creating, even our leaders, you pity them at times when you see the hard facts of an issue and you see people who are roadside commentators who are talking about things they are least qualified to talk about. So my own view, the way I look at it, is that it's not a matter of leakage or not lack of leakage. It's a matter of the fact that you are given an assignment, you get there, you believe that if things are not being done properly, for instance, cash card was being sold by, nobody was fighting to become a deputy registrar or a director in JAM. Nobody was fighting to be a state officer in JAM. Everybody is fighting to become a financial officer because they know that it's the marketing officer, is the one who sells the scratch card and reports directly to Abuja. It doesn't go through any other person. You might be looking at the person as level 5, level 6, level 7 officer, but whether he has a godfather or a godmother, only God knows. But such a person is not entrusted, was not entrusted to such a responsibility just like that. There must have been some ulterior motive for positioning people there to be there, and they do. But in any case, whatever the reason, what was important to me was that at the point that we had to stop this cash card, all of us were around when these cash cards were being sold. When students pay 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 for a card of 5,000, many of us did not, including journalists, so there and was the kind civil of an society, artificial scarcity. You are even talking of accounting for the cost. You are not asking for what we knew, the differential that we knew, that when the card was, we are saying account for the card of 5,200 or 2,000 or 1,000 that we gave to you, irrespective of how much you sold the card. So we were all, some of us, we were there, we were buying. You see, the issue is not about celebrating mediocrity or criminality. It's about thinking and deriving appropriate lessons. How do we go? How do we ensure that turning the whole thing into a comic thing pains me, because it's a sign of the fact that we have lost what matters in a human being, joking about a serious matter. It was just
that's
because
the snake swallowing the
there are so many things you joke with, but unfortunately, many of those who joke, when you look deep into the joke itself, you will see that it's because they will have preferred to be there to be the snake.
Yeah. You did okay.
Prof, you came up with measures last year, during JAM last year, which to some extent they say help to reduce the level of fraudulent practices. Yet the students and their parents are smarter. What steps are you taking this year to beat them to the game?
You see, I have not much problem with the students, because I've been with their age for the past 40 years. I am very, very familiar with what could be the pranks of the people of that age. But what baffles me is the preparedness of the parents to create crime and criminalize the life of their children. The fact that a mothers in particular, I'm sorry to say, they are ready to go to any extent in creating a graduate out of their children. And I think that is what is painful to me. You see, JAM cards had always been sold for some time. It had been sold for 5,000, 500. And when you appraise how much it costs to conduct this examination, maybe 2,000 will have been okay. But the so-called poor people that you are fighting for, they are the ones who could muster 200,000, 300,000. Even when JAMB itself created a rogue center to say, we want to see who will apply, come and buy live question. People were paying their 200,000, and as they were paying, we are disqualifying the children. Because we had advertised, we advertised in the newspaper that people who are defrauding you, they are criminals. Don't help, because you are also criminals by paying. So we are looking, indeed, whenever we catch any fraudster now, the first thing is to look at the account and look at all those who paid into the account and disqualify them. So when I say somebody said went to court and say my mother paid and she wasn't a party to the contract, I was the one who got your registration number from you. Didn't you give your registration number to your mother to go and pay? How did your mother get your registration number, your particulars, which was personal to you? You are an accomplice and you should be so treated.
So, Prof, a lot of Nigerians are actually waiting to see how that issue of the snake swallowing 36 million naira would be dealt with. How are you dealing with that issue now?
I don't know. I don't know who is waiting, because the person did not know. This is not a new thing. It's not something that happened in 2018 or 2017. It's something that had happened long ago. It was just that in the course of discussion, somebody made reference to it, and it caught
went viral
attention like that. How many snakes are in our respective homes and offices that we are now more or less dignifying something that is just a criminal ploy by somebody. This is how we create unnecessary platform, glory for people who should not be glorified. Okay. It's a crime, it's a lie, and the lie had been detected and appropriate action is being taken. So that's the issue.
We must thank you so much, Professor Ishaku Loye, the Registrar of JAMB, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
That's it for today. Thanks for being part of it too. But we do it again tomorrow. My name is Amechi Anapu. Have a good day.